Here we have a pre-owned 2017 Toyota Land Cruiser. Love the color on this one. This is the Blue Onyx Pearl. And then the interior is gonna be that beautiful Terra perforated leather. Just a nice spec here, I think. And for the powertrain, we get a 5.7 liter naturally aspirated V8, made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And that gets us 381 horsepower, 401 pound-feet of torque. Now, as we come around to the front end here, it's just something about the older Land Cruisers. I love the styling. We get the LED headlamps, LED daytime running lights, LED fog lights. And the daytime running lights, they don't flash like that. That's just how my camera's picking them up, but very, very sophisticated front end here. These were always more of the subtle looking vehicles, but if you knew cars, you knew that this was not cheap to buy. Down here we get 18-inch alloy wheels. Integrated running boards there. Now we get passive keyless entry on all 4 doors here. Love the wood grain. And then that Terra right there. I just love how this door panel was kind of configured. We get one-touch automatic up and down windows on all 4 doors. Rear window lock there. Power door lock controls. Bottle holder. And then we have the JBL Synthesis sound system here. There's a kick plate. Now over here, power mirrors that fold, auto high beams, etc. Gas cap, hood release, power tilt telescoping steering wheel. And there's the power driver's seat. We do get 2-way power lumbar support here. And the leather seems to still be in very good shape, even though this has over 121,000 miles on it. But I have that seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. Before we check out the rear leg room, big thank you to John Roberts Toyota for allowing me to review this Land Cruiser today. I'll leave a link below in the description. And if you're looking to get the best price on one of these in your area, specifically a used one, just make sure that you click that link down below, fill out the info. It takes a minute or two to get the dealers in your area fighting to get you that best price. But let's hop in here. I'm gonna see if I can get this seat to lean back a little bit. There we go. And this does, right off the bat, feel a bit roomier in the back compared to the newer Land Cruiser, which is not surprising, but still something I noticed. Seat back pockets on both sides. Now I do love this wood grain here, and then we can adjust fan speed, direction, even the 2-stage heated outboard seats from back here. And this does have the integrated media system back here. So 12 volt there, an HDMI port there, volume controls, headphones, and all of that. So pretty interesting. Now, I don't know how you get this thing to come on, but I'm sure there's a way to do it with this being the factory system. Then here, oh, here's a remote. See if I can get it to, how do you even get this thing out of here? Ah, there it is. So this is pretty neat. I didn't know these even had these, but there's a remote there. We can go through if we want to hear radio, Bluetooth, use a disk drive, aux, audio, video cables, or the rear HDMI there. So that is pretty neat. But that's how you control that. And there's a nice place for it right in there. Let's see if I can get these cup holders to come out. There are those. Let's see if we can get out of here. And your child lock is right there. If you want to turn that on, just slide that down. Slide it back up to get it off. And sorry I'm moving so slowly. I sprained my ankle, as I've said in several videos before this, but like the back end there, and that's just the signature Land Cruiser look. It looks so massive from back here. But if you look underneath the vehicle, everything's set up just like in the new Land Cruiser. Spare tires there, exhaust is there. And then we do get the back glass in the new Land Cruiser, but in this one, it's kind of like the BMWs. They have the top half here, and then you can pull this down to get the bottom half. And then we do have an integrated third row in here as well. I can get that to come down, but oh, is that how you do it? It's hard to do this with one hand, so third row is right in there though. It's gonna bother me. There it is. That one might just be busted. So, oh, okay. So this is actually this makes a lot of sense how they set this third row up. So I don't have to use both hands to get it going. That's how you do the headrest and all that. But we'll take a look when I come around the other side. I don't know why this one's not working, but 120 volt back here, 3-prong. And then you just go in reverse to close her back up. There's a gas cap there. Now rear passenger side, pull up here, just watch that screen. You can tumble, and there is the top tether there. And there is a look at that third row. And you do get bottle holders back there as well. And you can fold this back up and you can recline it all the way back there, so that's pretty impressive. And then the front passenger seat here, power seat back, power seat bottom. Wood grain again, lockable glove compartment. All the books and everything are there. Now let's go to the biggest change to this Land Cruiser as opposed to the newer one. And that's gonna be this massive 5.7 liter V8. And there she is. There's just something about the 5.7 hum though, especially after they warm up and they're just sitting there idling. They're so beefy, I love them. But let's hop in the driver's seat here. Now, leather wrapped steering wheel. That might be leatherette. And then we have the wood grain here. It's kind of peeling on the sides of the steering wheel, but the wood grain is in immaculate shape, and you can have an interior guy fix this pretty easily. But there's the horn, and it just sounds so much more massive than the horn on the newer Land Cruisers. I just find that hilarious. Now over here to the screen, we have our AM, FM, XM radio, Bluetooth, aux input, CD drive, USB, so many different things you can use. Now that's one thing that we don't have in the newer Land Cruisers, a CD drive. We pretty much don't have CD drives anywhere anymore, which is fine. And then navigation systems here, type in your destination there. Then we can pull up our apps here, including weather and traffic incidents when the XM's hooked up. And then your settings are in here. Go here to general, you can change your language or units of measurements right in there. And sorry, the sunroof's kind of causing a glare there. Backup camera, we do have the guidelines that follow you as you turn the steering wheel. Now I will say this steering wheel is a bit harder to turn than the new Land Cruiser, but I think it's just how the thing's set up. I kind of like it better like this. Now down here we do get dual zone automatic climate controls. Temperature can be adjusted here. One thing I can't stand, and I've said this before, is when they have the AC controls integrated in the screen when everything else is down here. So to actually adjust the fan speed, you have to hit that climate button and then adjust this here. But the rationale behind that is if you use the auto modes, you won't ever have to do that, because you can just set it to auto and then set it to, let's say, 72, and then you'll be good there. But I do like the graphics themselves though. A lot you can do there, and you have the windshield de-icer in there as well. Volume controls here, click there, turn the audio off. Tune knobs here, tracks, eject, play and pause, and then the SD card reader for the navigation is right in there. 12 volts here. Then we do have a wireless charging pad there. We can cut that on or off, and we can stow it as well. And then we have 3-stage heated cool front seats. We can also set to auto, and then a heated steering wheel toggle there. And then an aux input, USB-A input right there. Now for the shifter, just hit the brake, grab the lever, reverse, neutral, drive, and then you can manually shift right in there. And then we do have our all-wheel drive system or four-wheel drive, depending on how you look at it here. It's either going to be in high or you can push it and set it to low there, but 99% of the time it's going to be in that high mode there. And then you can set your drive modes here. So whether you want to be in a crawl mode or whatever, and then your turn assist function there, so on and so forth. You can really get nitty-gritty with that for off-road purposes, excuse me. Electronically controlled transmission, is right here, so you can set that to power or set it to second there. I think that button might be a little stuck, but I'll fix it here in a minute. Center differential lock, traction control, bottle holder, and then cool box here. Garage door transmitter in the rear view mirror, sunglasses holder, and then we do have our sunroof controls right up here. So we can tilt or slide that one touch. And while that's going back, there is the vanity mirror there. And then we can close that back. Again, one touch. Look at the back seat from up here. And then back to the steering wheel, blinkers, high beam, set that to auto, fog lights. And again, your auto high beams are right down there if you ever want to use them. And I like how in this one, it tells you to activate it, switch the headlights to high beam. So that's pretty neat. And then your automatic wipers over here, one time off, auto, low, high. We can adjust that auto sensitivity in the rear wiper there. Push back for the rear wiper fluid, pull up for the front. And then I just saw this because I was moving this stock. Hit this button here, and that gets your front camera and then bird's eye view activated. And I like that. And you can actually go through the different views there between that and the curbside view. Now over here, we can go through the track list, radio station presets, volume, audio sources, voice recognition, Bluetooth controls. And then we do have adaptive cruise, so just click that to turn the radar cruise on, or hold it and it'll put into the regular cruise. And then you can set speed there and then cancel, so on and so forth. Lane departure, and then we have the forward collision alert gap. The radar cruise gap is there as well. And then we can go through our gauge cluster using all of this here. So you can scroll through, see tire pressure monitors, all of that. There's a lot going on here. And then I can kind of go back to the home page there, and then a back button here. Now that's how you turn on the pre-collision alert system, or that's actually how you toggle the gap adjust for that, excuse me. So this is just for the radar cruise. So I learned something today. And then this is for the actual collision system, and it'll show you what the gap is there. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is the parking brake. Love having that manual. Push button starts there. And then finally, here's the key fob. This one does have remote start, and it shows you how to use that, even though it's a bit faded. Right in there. But next, let's go ahead and take this 2017 Toyota Land Cruiser out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Land Cruiser, I will say you can tell the horsepower difference just by having this naturally aspirated V8 as opposed to the new turbocharged 4-cylinder, even in the iForce Max. But the torque is incredible in those, and you still have pretty good torque here. It's a 5.7 V8. You have over 400 pound-feet, but it's just nothing like getting behind the wheel of a 5.7 liter V8 and putting your foot down. That's gonna be a different type of exhilaration, I think, as opposed to a turbocharged engine, specifically a smaller displacement one. Now, I do like that we have the 8-speed in this newer one. It just makes it a little easier to get up as opposed to the older, I don't remember if it was a 5-speed or a 6-speed, but before the 8-speed was put in these, you didn't have that many gears to choose from. But I'm gonna put into the manual shift mode, come out of this corner and see if it feels as good as the new Land Cruiser did when I took the same route. Yeah, that's pretty nice. You don't get that same feeling of exhilaration as opposed to having a turbocharger, but it still gets up. And one thing I will say is I feel like this Land Cruiser, it just feels smoother and more quiet so far as opposed to the 2024 one. But one thing I can say is I can feel the bulkiness of this one more than in the new Land Cruiser. This feels like a huge SUV. It drives like a huge SUV, as opposed to the Land Cruiser, which is not that much smaller than you would think. Compared to this, it's night and day in terms of the driving dynamics to me. But depending on what you like, I can see the pros and cons to both setups here. Now, you do get the 8-speed automatic in this one as well as the Land Cruiser, the 2024. But the difference in engine choices, depending on how you use your vehicle most of the time and how you like to off-road, I can see again, the pluses in both and the minuses in both. But this feels like something that would ride more smoothly. And I think in ways it does. The ride, I'll tell you what it is. The ride in the Land Cruiser, the 2017, feels much more plush than the ride in the 2024. But the comfort's about the same, if that makes sense. Very solid ride. Again, where this one, I feel like the shocks absorb the road a bit more. It also has more play in it as well. The newer Land Cruiser's just, it's interesting. That's the best way to put it. Part of it is because I'm so used to this body style one, the big, huge, top of the line SUV that you can get from Toyota. But I will say that the screen setup compared to the new model, this is definitely a dated system, still good, but compared to what everyone else was doing in 2017, a little behind the times, I think. But you still get a lot of tech that wasn't seen in some of the competition. You have your standard adaptive cruise here, the lane departure system, the heated cooled seats that also have an auto mode, LED headlamps, fog lights. Now, one thing I do like about the 24 Land Cruiser is you do have the several different drive modes to choose from, whereas this one you just kind of have to either put into the power mode or have it kind of set normal. I'm gonna give myself a little space and put my foot down. All right, here we go. So pretty quick. So I'm going to put on the radar cruise, adjust the gap. Yeah, I just feel like the ride is a bit more plush on the interstate with this one, but it was smoother in the other Land Cruiser, if that makes sense. There just wasn't a lot going on. And This one, where you have a bit more of play in the actual ride, when you do hit bumps, it's more comfortable, in my opinion. But the overall sound, again, the sound acoustics in here are good. They're about neck and neck with the new Land Cruiser at highway speeds, at least. But I want to give one more thank you to John Roberts Toyota for allowing me to review this Land Cruiser today. And if you're looking to get the best price on one of these in your area, just click on that link down below and fill out the info. Takes a minute, and we'll get the local dealers fighting to get you that best price on one of these. Which they're hard to come by these days, but still, they're out there. Again, if you're interested in this one in particular, John Roberts Toyota, just Google it and the dealership will pop up. But a nice solid SUV. Even though this design was a bit dated, it was still good for what most people were using them for, and it's just what they like. And I think that's why you'll see a different set of people in the market for the new Land Cruisers as opposed to this one. But with all that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2017 Toyota Land Cruiser.